Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you 5 ways to relieve and prevent elbow pain on the bow holding arm. As a brief summary, let's look at that elbow on the bow holding side and understand where this pain often shows up. There's typically 2 spots on this elbow where you will commonly get pain on the bow holding side. The one is on the top of the elbow where these muscles of the forearm on top run up and insert or attach to the bone. There's a connection site there that is a tendon. The other spot that you may be looking at in regards to pain is on the inside or underside of the elbow where again the muscles of the forearm run up and attach to the bone as a tendon on that insertion site. Now these spots can get irritated, overwhelmed, overworked, overstretched, and ultimately those insertion sites, those tendons result in pain. Let's dive into it. The first cause and fix for pain on this bow arm elbow is to prevent yourself from overactively pulling your knuckles back towards yourself, which we call wrist extension. Now where this shows up is we know we want on a bow a grip approximately 45 degrees, right? That varies approximately coming down around the inside of that thumb pad. That varies a little bit, but this is what our grip looks like. And when we hold a bow, we're in that wrist extension position. And what can happen is in an effort for the archer to push into the bow as they're holding or an effort to achieve and maintain their desired grip, the archer will accidentally or unknowingly excessively extend. And what they're doing is they're over recruiting all of these muscles to pull your knuckles back and to maintain that position. That ultimately funnels down repetitive load and repetitive stress to that insertion site on top of the elbow. And then it also excessively stretches that insertion site on the underside or inside of the elbow that we talked about at the start. So the fix there is to take a look at your shot and allow yourself to have the desired grip that you want, but make sure that ultimately that hand is relaxed and you're getting your solid position through a solid bow shoulder down and a solid position of the arm when you're drawing and holding. This fault can often occur when you're drawing. As you're drawing, a lot of times there's a big effort to push and pull there, and along with that forward push, that excessive wrist extension can occur. So you need to look at your shot, identify if that's something that you're doing, and I recommend practice with a band so that you can take away the complexities of the bow and allow yourself to, yes, have that desired grip that you would like, but allow that hand to be relaxed and avoid that pulling back of the knuckles that overloads the elbow and overstretches that elbow. The second cause of this pain and the fix that we're going to look at is the amount of elbow bend you have. Now, what you have to understand is that across different styles of archery and even from archer to archer, depending on what works best for them, we're going to see a little bit of variation in how much bend the elbow has. Some people like to shoot with a little bit of bend in the elbow. Some are shooting with more of a straight elbow. Some shoot with a straight elbow and a soft elbow. There are some variations there, but what you can do if you're having elbow pain on this bow arm is that you can adjust the amount of bend you have. Typically, what's going to produce the best results is if you're somebody who shoots with a more straight or a completely straight elbow with your style of archery, if you can work this slight bend into your style of archery, you may not be able to. You can add a little bit of bend, and what that does, the ultimate reason why that can provide relief from elbow pain here is we're taking these elbow muscles and the muscles of the forearm that run up out of complete stretch and tension, because we say, okay, we have a completely straight arm here in our shot or in our hold. And if we can just add a slight bend, it's a very slight break, we're basically taking that muscle, and instead of having so much tension and stretch in it, we're allowing it to stay at a normal length and normal tension relationship when looking at that muscle. The third cause and fix that we're going to look at for the elbow pain is adjusting or changing the grip on your bow. Now, I use those 2 words intentionally, adjusting or changing. Adjusting refers to if you have a bow that you like, a grip that you like, maybe you can't change it or you don't want to change it, you can look at changing the grip that you have on your bow, whether you have a higher grip where your wrist is a little bit straighter, whether you have a lower grip where you're in a more extended position. So we're changing the amount of wrist extension. We're not changing the rotation of the hand. We're not changing anything else besides the amount of wrist extension you have. And the reason why that is helpful is because by changing the amount of wrist extension you have on that grip, we change the type and amount of stress on the elbow. Now, the other word I use there is changing your grip. That was adjusting, but changing your grip typically is most helpful, meaning that if you have a bow that allows you to switch or swap out different grips, allowing you to achieve the different amounts of wrist extension that you have when you're holding your bow, that can go a long way in changing the amount and the type of cumulative stress that's going into that elbow. So simply put, try adjusting or changing your grip if that's something you can do without causing negative effects in other areas of your shot. The fourth cause and fix that we're going to look at for this elbow pain is an upstream solution. Now, what I mean by that is when we're holding our bow, while drawing and while holding, there are a lot of muscles at play that hold our bones in alignment and solid, stable positioning. If the main muscles are not strong in the shoulder and the upper back, a lot of times what happens to the archer is downstream, they're trying to compensate or make up for that. So these muscles up here are not as strong and solid as they should be. So the forearm and the muscles down in the lower half of the arm are doing extra work to try to hold this bow up and trying to maintain that position. This can also lead to that cause number one where we're overly extending and we're trying to keep that bow up on target. So the solution becomes to strengthen the main stabilizers and holders of that bow in the upper back and in the shoulder throughout that shoulder girdle. There are many muscles at play. There are many different strength training exercises and tools that we use for this type of strength building and stability training. So I can't list them all here and I can't show them all here. That is going to be something that you can find and implement into your training through the videos I have on YouTube, on Instagram, and our training programs on archerystrong.com. So we're thinking about, let's strengthen the archer as a whole. Let's help out this elbow that may be overworking and stressing and straining to help hold the bow and stabilize the bow, when we should have other muscles or other hands on the rope trying to do that as well. So the target becomes strength training for everything upstream, which will also benefit you as an archer for your overall strength and stability when you're drawing and holding repetitively. The main muscles that help you hold up your bow are going to be located in the shoulder and in the upper back. And then there are muscles down throughout your arm that help you. The big, strong muscles that allow you to hold solid, keep your bones in alignment, are not strong in the shoulder and the upper back. A lot of times what happens to the archer is downstream, they're trying to compensate or make up for that. So these muscles up here are not as strong and solid as they should be. So the forearm and the muscles down in the lower half of the arm are doing extra work to try to hold this bow up and trying to maintain that position. This can also lead to that cause number one where we're overly extending and we're trying to keep that bow up on target. So the solution becomes to strengthen the main stabilizers and holders of that bow in the upper back and in the shoulder throughout that shoulder girdle. There are many muscles at play. There are many different strength training exercises and tools that we use for this type of strength building and stability training. So I can't list them all here and I can't show them all here. That is going to be something that you can find and implement into your training through the videos I have on YouTube, on Instagram, and our training programs on archerystrong.com. So we're thinking about, let's strengthen the archer as a whole. Let's help out this elbow that may be overworking and stressing and straining to help hold the bow and stabilize the bow, when we should have other muscles or other hands on the rope trying to do that as well. The fifth and final cause and fix that we're going to have for this elbow pain is a lack of tolerance and resiliency in those tendons, meaning that those tendons that attach the muscle to the bone need to be strong, capable, and able to handle the repetitive stress of arrow after arrow, day after day of shooting. Sometimes those tendons can become overwhelmed, overstressed, overworked, so we need to not only build them up to handle the stress of shooting, but we also need to stimulate healing so that we can restore them back to typical function and health. I'm going to show you 2 exercises that you can do that are great tools for not only, number one, stimulating healing, but also, like I said, building the tendons up to restore them back to function and health. So what you need is any sort of weight. I have a kettlebell here. You can use a dumbbell. You can use a weight plate. You can even get creative at home if you have rocks or stones or buckets, bags, different things that you can very simply hold. I'm going to show you 2 holds that are simple, where you're just spending time under tension, getting those tendons to work, stimulate healing, to build up, to restore to function. And we're also reversing all of this time that we spend in this extended position, wrist extension. Now we're going to train in a neutral position or even a little bit of wrist flexion. So very simply, the first hold or exercise that you're going to do is just holding with a neutral or a slightly bent grip like so, and you're just going to spend time under tension with enough weight that it feels like work. I have 35 pounds here, but it shouldn't be so much that you're struggling to hold it and it's breaking you down and it's hurting you. Likely will have a mild bit of discomfort as you hold here, but as long as, again, that weight is making you work, it's spending time under tension, you feel the work of the hold, and you just have mild discomfort, then you're in a good place. I recommend 3 holds of 30 seconds, each followed by 30 seconds of rest. And you can perform that every single day. And as you feel comfortable, more able, you can increase the weight slightly. This is the first hold. The second hold is going to be a pinch hold. So again, you can use a variety of different weighted objects where instead of gripping and holding like so, you're going to pinch. So I could pinch the kettlebell handle here. I could also pinch a weight plate, or a book bag or whatever you have at your disposal. Same thing, you're pinching, you're spending time under tension here, good shoulder position down and back in neutral, straight, vertical torso while you're holding at your side. Over time, that will help those tendons to heal and to build up so they can handle the stress you're showing them. Those are 5 common causes, not the only ones, but common causes of elbow pain in the bow arm and solutions to fix them. Now, there are a couple things that are incredibly important to remember, and I'm going to give you 2 things to take home with you as we finish this video. The first thing is that this will take time. Elbow tendon issues are notoriously stubborn and tricky, and it's not going to be a light switch solution, meaning you're not going to try one of these things once and your pain's going to be gone. It will take time. You will have to stick with it, likely for weeks, sometimes even months is what the research shows for these tendon issues to resolve. So be patient. Look for the small improvements of discomfort and pain. The second thing to remember is that you have to look at yourself as an archer and determine which one of these you feel might be most effective and applicable to your situation. This video is not meant to give you 5 different things to do and saying that 5 different things are causing your pain and you need 5 solutions. It's likely 1 or 2 of these root causes that you're going to identify and say, yep, that's it. I need to try this solution and I need to stick with it for a while. So make sure that you do your best to focus in on 1 or 2 of these pieces. The last thing I wanted to offer is that many people will be thinking, well, I don't have pain on the bow arm elbow, but I do have pain on my draw elbow. If that's the case, I have a different video on my YouTube channel for 5 causes and solutions to elbow pain on the draw arm, so be sure to check that out. I hope you found this video valuable. If you're looking to contact me, reach out to me with questions, or you want to dive deeper into training, visit archerystrong.com. Thank you for your support.